A very good morning, dear students. Welcome back to the computer science online classes. So in today's class I will be continuing with the arrays chapter. So that is chapter 11 in your syllabus. So in the last class I discussed all about what do you mean by array, one dimensional array syntax, how you have to declare a one dimensional array syntax, and I gave how to represent a array representation, and then I discussed about how you have to initialize an array, everything, right? So I hope you all have practiced and I hope you all have understood the concept of arrays. Is it right? So let us move on to the today's topic. So that is two-dimensional arrays. Okay, so one-dimensional array will have the only one subscript. Is it right? So whereas this two-dimensional array, it will be having two subscripts. So one is m cross n. So one is m, another one is n. So let us discuss what it is. So it is an array in which each element is accessed using two subscripts. So as I told, there will be a two subscripts. The subscripts represents the position of the elements in the array. So where exactly the array is there, so that position will be represented by the two-dimensional array. So that is, two subscripts will specify the position where exactly the elements are stored. Okay, so the elements of two-dimensional arrays are represented as rows and columns. So rows and columns. In rows and columns, the two-dimensional arrays are represented. So what is a row? The horizontal line, the horizontal alignment is called as row. What is a column then? So column is a vertical line, it is called as a column. Okay, so to identify any element, we should know its row number and its column number. Okay, so I hope you all are understanding. A two-dimensional array is an array wherein each element will be accessed using two subscripts. Okay, so all these two-dimensional arrays are represented as rows and columns. Okay, so to identify any element, we should know its row number and column number. Okay, so if you are not knowing the row number and column number, the position of the element will not be represented. You will be not getting to know where the element is present. Okay, so this is about two-dimensional array definition. Okay, see, I'll again repeat. 2D array is an array in which each element will be accessed using two subscripts. The subscripts represents the position in the sense where exactly the element is present. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. See here, for this array A of 2 and 3. So here 2 is what? Row numbers. So here we are having 2 rows. Okay, so 0, 1, 2. 2 rows and 3 columns. So 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is the array representation of 2D array. For this particular example, if there is a cross m comma n, if there is a cross m comma n in the sense, at that time this is the full representation. This is the full representation of a of m and n. Okay, so this is about 2D array representation. See here, this horizontal line represents row. Okay, so this vertical column represents Vertical line represents column. Okay, so I hope you all are understanding. So 2D array is always accessed using two subscripts. So one is row, another one is column. Okay. So next we'll move on to the declaration of 2D arrays. A 2D array can be defined by specifying the data type of the elements, followed by the name of the array, followed by the number of rows. So that is whether it is how much row size and what is a column size. Okay. See, a 2D array is represented as data type, so that is integer, and array name followed by its array name. So A will be the array name and followed by its row size. So row size I will give it as 5 and followed by its column size. So that I will give it as 5. So ended with statement terminator, so that is a semicolon should be ended. Okay, so this is the declaration part of the 2D array. So in 2D array, first we have to specify, as usual. To declare anything we have to give the storage space, right? So for that sake we have to mention the data type, that is integer data type, and followed by its array name. So what is the array name here? A, and followed by its row size. So row size is what? 5. Column size is what? 5. So here whenever you see two subscripts like this, automatically in your mind it should come, that is, it is 2D array. Okay. So next we will see the row size and column size of the array must be constant or expression that evaluates an integer. So that is, the row size and column size should be constant. Means this row size and column size whatever we are specifying, it should not be varied, it should not be changing. So once if you are changing this row size and column size, then there is no matter of declaring this 2D array. Okay. So that is the thing. Then all this row size and column size must be enclosed within a square brackets. So if there is no square brackets, then it will not be identified as 2D array. So if there is a two subscripts, then it is called as 2D array. So see, in the syntax you have to know what is a data type, array name, and row size followed by the column size. Okay. So this is the thing. See, here you have to understand, and this syntax you have to note down. So syntax is data type, array name followed by the row size and the column size. Okay. So next is initialization of two-dimensional arrays. So how we have to initialize the two-dimensional arrays? See here, similarly like one-dimensional array, how you have to initialize, how you used to initialize a of 2 in the sense, see, there are two elements, 1, 2. Here also, here you are having two-dimensional array. So that is where integer a of 2 followed by 3 columns. So the elements are this much, where A is a two-dimensional array which contains 2 rows and 3 columns, and it will be assigned as C, 2 rows and 3 columns. So 2 rows and you are having 3 columns. Okay. So this is a thing you have to understand. So now, In two-dimensional array, all the matrices elements will also come. We majorly use this two-dimensional array for representing the matrices. Okay. See here. So we have to access the elements in the sense how we have to access the elements. We have to access the elements using the subscripts. So here it is 0. Okay. So 0, 1, 2. Okay, here also 0, 1, 2, 3. So it is 2 cross 3 array. Okay. So I hope you all are understanding. Next is how we have to access the elements. So consider the declaration integer a of 2 cross 3, integer a of 2 cross 3, here we can read 6 elements into the array. So that is 2 cross 3 is how much? 6. So 6 elements we have to represent, that is we have to read into the array. So we need to use nested loop for this. So nested loop in the sense what? A loop within a loop. Okay. So if you are not using a loops, at that time you have to use again and again. The statements have to be again and again. It has to be written by the programmer. Instead of that, we can represent the accessing of the array elements using nested loops. One loop processes the rows and another loop processes the columns. So one loop I will say it as I. Another loop I will take it as j. Okay. If outer loop is for rows and the inner loop is for columns. So that this is I loop is for rows. So rows in the sense the number of row elements, and j loop is for columns. Then for each row index all the columns are processed, and then the same process is repeated for row index. For the next row index, see, first the row will be accessed. After that another row will be accessed. After that another row will be accessed. So this is the thing. So for accessing the elements in an array, we used to use loops, nested loops. So outer loop will be there. So this is for I. And there will be an inner loop, and that is for j. Okay. So now we will see the next slide. See, let us understand this, how we have to execute this outer loop and inner loop with an example. For I is equals to 0 to I less than to I plus plus. So this is considered as outer loop for the rows. So this is a rows. So as I told for rows, I is this thing, to access the I is used, and for columns we use the letter J. Okay, and then we have to write the cin statement for accessing ith row and jth column. Okay, so this is the thing. Whenever we have to write any array program, there must be a for loops. Okay, so why the loops are used? So loops are used for execution of the same statements until and unless certain conditions is false. Okay, so this is the thing. So next we will see how we can print 6 elements as 2 rows and 3 columns. So 2 rows in the sense maximum limit is what? 2. And 3 columns maximum limit is what? 3. So for that sake only we have to print 2 rows. So rows is specified by I. So before that rows only it has to be printed. So here they have specified 2. So 2 should be there. So whatever the numbers between which is not exceeding this 2 rows will be printed. So only the condition is I is less than 2. Okay. So if the columns, coming to columns, so 3 columns should be printed in the sense I is less than, j is less than 3. It has to be specified like this. So now you came to know the conditions. So this condition has to be inserted in the for loop. So from the I is equals to 0, from the 0th element you have to be printed in the sense for I is equals to 0, I less than 2, I plus plus. Okay. So this is followed by, so see now this is the outer loop. So what it is? This is outer loop. Okay. And J loop is considered as inner loop. Okay. See now this outer loop will be followed by the inner loop to output the elements. So that is C out of A of I cross J element. Okay. See here tab space is used. So this will be used for giving the space, one tab space after the each element. Okay. So this is about two-dimensional arrays. So I hope you all have understood. So always two-dimensional array is represented by using 2 subscripts. Okay. So next we will see the multi-dimensional array. So multi-dimensional array is an array of n dimensions. An array of array is called as multi-dimensional array. So array of array is called as multi-dimensional array. So the syntax goes like this. For two-dimensional array there will be a 2 subscripts. So for the n-dimensional array there will be n subscripts. So this is a syntax. So you can see here. So first thing is the data type, which is followed by the array name and which is followed by the size of the ith dimension. So what is the ith dimension? So the dimension of the array. So it will be a row or column or the dimension, whatever the dimension is there, that dimension will be represented. So this is about multi-dimensional array. So from arrays chapter you have to know the definition of the array. Okay. So the definition of the array you must be knowing, and how we have to represent. So representation you have to know, and declaration you have to know, how you have to declare. So this all will comes under the one-dimensional array. So next the same way you have to know all about two-dimensional arrays also. Okay. So I hope you all have understood this arrays chapter. If you are having any doubts or any questions, do ask the questions. Thank you.